Yo, better run the like it's the Krewe FC, the Roundtable where the real heads be. Talking NFL, the game we adore. From the touchdowns to the legends and so much more. That fucking guy, he's got the stats on lock. Dropping knowledge on the field, watching every block. Back a bleeding green, cheering loud and proud. In the sea of cheese, heads he's standing out the crowd. I can't hear with the looks and the smarts. Breaking down the plays and he does it with heart. Then the stout, solid like the line. His takes are heavy, his vision's divine. Week by week we break the game down. From every big play to every new crown. Offense, defense, we cover it all. From the springtime draft to the winner's last call. It's not just a podcast, it's a fan's lifeline. Connecting every moment from the vines to the side.
Good morning. Brian, this has been a long time coming. What? Since before the Super Bowl, right? I didn't think you were on the Super Bowl show, were you?
Yeah, couldn't do it. I had major issues with
yes, I'm sorry.
technology. So, but no, it's good to be back. It's a new season, man.
Yeah, it's been crazy busy. I don't know if you saw the recap of the Buck season. We'll let that go out here real quick.
Welcome to the always fascinating recap of the 2025 Tampa Bay Buccaneers season. In the eyes of our great head coach, Todd Bowles.
Man, this is some boat. Uh-oh.
Okay, maybe not, but pretty close.
Right.
So it's been quite a bit of news going on. You know, NFL is always forefront in at least American sports. Even with the World Baseball Classic going on, NFL was forefront, right in the front and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple new coaches, new places. I had some shocking, not shocking, but devastating news, I guess, if I'm a Bucs fan, which I am, and for all the Bucs fans out there, is that Mike Evans decided he didn't want to stay in Tampa Bay. I don't know who you can say is to blame for that. Really, Mike just needs to go out and make his money, in my opinion. He deserves to play where he wants to play, go out how he wants to go out. But that hurts as a Bucs fan. You know, you've got these players. A lot of these kids out there today, 20 years and lower, don't remember Tampa Bay without Mike Evans. So that was devastating.
That Mike Evans, that's a hell of a player right there. I mean, guy that just does it. And now property of San Francisco 49ers. Boy, Niners definitely upgraded in that position. So
yeah, no, I mean he definitely is injury prone. On the later legs of his career, so to speak. Injured this past season, so I'm sure that played a part in the Bucs' decision. But they did offer him more money. They offered him more money than San Francisco did. But I think he just wanted a new start. You hear the same message every day. It's time to hear something new. So I just think he was ready. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then on top of that, even better news, they keep Todd Bowles. The hits keep coming if you're a Bucs fan because we're not done. By any means, we're not done. I mean, Evans, San Francisco. Todd Bowles stays. Levante David retires. I mean, LVD leaving, that leaves a big hole in your – not even on the field, but in the locker room itself. That's your chemistry. That's your team. That's your cornerstone. So now Bucs pick up a couple players, but you're not going to replace that. You're not going to replace a Mike Evans. You're not going to replace a Levante David. It's just, that's – I know I shouldn't have went first, but I had to get it off my chest. I haven't been able to talk about it in a while. And those are two huge losses for the Bucs.
Are you telling me you've been venting up frustration today? building it just so you can just go? Is this like a therapy session?
Oh, no, I'm not going to go off on a tangent. But, man, I mean, it's been simmering for a while. You go on all these websites and all these social media platforms, and people are bashing Bowles over Evans leaving. It's not why Mike left. People are bashing Bowles for Levante David retiring. It's not why Levante retired. I mean, it was just time. It's very
Right.
rare you have a player that stays with the team that long, yet alone finish his career. Levante David, the Bucks need to look back on that and just be thankful he stayed in Tampa Bay and was the player he was. So,
Yes.
I'm
Well,
okay. So
it's all good.
Green Bay, what's going on there?
Not a whole heck of a lot, to be perfectly honest. It's been more of a quiet off season. I mean, they have let some people go. Like obviously Romeo Dobbs is now, I forget where he went to now. But he's, they let him go. And then they also let Rashawn Gary go. So that's kind of two of your bigger name starters that they let go, obviously for cap reasons. So they're trying to get under the cap, get more under the cap and pre-plan for the next couple years. Obviously with the defensive coordinator being hired in Miami, we now have Jonathan Gannon as our new defensive coordinator. Runs a different style of defense. And now with the void,
Thanks, Keith.
with the void, thanks. Yep. Now with the void on the D line, and also you have several corners that are not returning on this team. The Packers are now turning their heads to the draft, I believe, and all
But
indications.
how? Wait, time out. You're turning to the draft.
Yeah.
You don't have draft picks.
Well, you're right. However, this is reading up and after this trade that they just made with the Eagles, where they sent Dontavian Wicks to the Eagles for a 2026 fifth and an additional 2027 sixth rounder. Obviously, this was just a dump salary. But right now they're trying to set themselves up to where I know right now they're 26 million under the cap. Could they theoretically go and get somebody? Yes. Is it something they usually do? No. But they're scouting this kid out of San Diego State, Chris Johnson, who's a corner, and I guess got a lot of fans in the scouting department up in Green Bay. And he was a second team All-American last year. Also does punt returns as well. So he'd be a good special teams guy. But to your point, yeah, we don't have a first round pick because we put all our chips in on Micah Parsons. Obviously, with Parsons getting hurt, it doesn't look like we made it that great of a decision. But let's see if Parsons comes back first week. That's his plan. He wants to be back by training camp, but got to see what doctors think. So
Parsons is who Parsons is. If he's healthy, worth the investment, 100%. Best ability in NFL is availability, and unfortunately for Green Bay, they took a chance, took a flyer on him, and it didn't pan out this past season. You never know. He has a whole season to rehabilitate. Look at the dude in Detroit. He came back. He played all right. Firsthand. The edge is one of those positions where you've got to invest. You're not going to go into this draft and find a player the caliber of Micah Parsons. You're just not. So
correct. Yeah. So like I said, will Green Bay make a move to try to get back in the first round? I'm looking at it as they're not. Obviously they did sign Javon Hargrave, who's Vikings former defensive tackle. So they kind of filled that spot, and they also picked up they traded for the Zaire Franklin, I believe his name is, from the Colts.
Yeah.
So they are kind of trying to rebuild the defense on the fly, but like I said, reading all the tea leaves, I don't think Green Bay's trying to do anything to try to get into the first round. I think basically they're just setting themselves up to, if they can make a big move and they've got the cap to make it, that's probably,
Well, hey, Keith stole my question.
Yeah.
What does the Packers' number one need? Is it worth going back into the first round? I mean,
Well, the Packers' number one need, from what I'm looking at, I mean, offensively, I think they're all right. I mean, could they use another guy at wide receiver now? Probably, because you got rid of Dobbs and you got rid of Wicks.
yeah, but
you probably need another dude. But the biggest glaring hole on this team right now is at corner, like I was
100%.
talking about. I think that's the position that they're going to really stress on getting. They may even draft a couple corners in this draft, just for the simple fact that it's just a need at this point. Otherwise, I would probably say someone to complement Micah Parsons now, because Gary is gone.
Well, what do you think of a Lee Hunter, a 24-year-old nose tackle? His age is causing him to drop, but I know that's not really the need for you right now. But if you have someone that's going to draw double teams in the middle of the field, it's going to open up the edge from Micah Parsons if he's healthy.
Yeah. It's. I mean, to be real, I haven't looked. I've kind of slacked on looking at this draft this year. I'm just kind of on the fly today, but when that was the one thing that I was nervous when we made that trade with Dallas to get rid of. I don't know. My brain's not functioning today. Kenny Clark.
It's right. It's the preseason. We got time to get better.
Kenny Clark was a great run stopper. Right. It's just, to me, I just think that at this point in time, with the glaring hole at corner, I just don't see the Packers getting looking any at this point. And I mean, I'm kind of reading. It's like that's basically every site that you're seeing is corners basically blasted in your face. So
yeah,
I think that's corners what we're looking at. So
I think honestly, corner, you get a good tall goal line receiver. Later, like third, fourth, you can get that dude from the Navy, Kendrick, I think is his last name, or Kenreich or something like that. He's like 6'5", 6'6", good jump ball receiver. There's a lot of late receivers that you can pick up later in the draft. Even in, you're not looking for someone to be your burner down the field. You got that as long as he stays healthy. You need someone that's going to go up and get the ball for you.
Exactly. And this draft in particular, I think this is the draft that you're going to see a lot of receivers go. I heard this is the receiver group in this draft is actually plentiful.
Yeah.
You just got to get the right guy, I mean, but I like I said, cornered to me seems obvious. Obviously they may try to pick up another guy to complement Parsons. Other than that, like offensively, maybe take a flyer on a dude in later rounds and see if he's got anything. And that's the one thing the Packers have done well in their scouting department is they're not dogs like Mike Evans, but they're decent receivers. But they draft them in pick them up in the 4th and 5th round, and they end up seeing plenty of game time. So.
Yeah, I think that's your offense, though. That it's always been your offense. Your offense is not. I don't want to say plug and play because it's not. It's definitely well crafted, but you have your receivers like Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson isn't a star receiver on any other team in the NFL. He's just not.
Right.
You have Dobbs. What has he done elsewhere?
Well, we'll see next year.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Though? I mean, it's just you're cycling players in, and you're having success because your offensive scheme fits that. You're able to do that because you throw to a position, not a player. You throw where they should be. So
yes, LaFleur's offense has always been the one thing that LaFleur's offense has always been built around is having a good running back or a good set of running backs, because that's what opens up, and that's where, Rodgers used to do, or Jordan Love now used to just pick people apart because he could throw to anybody because you could scheme it that way. So, the offensively, while we're on the topic, the one thing I'm really interested to see is how Tucker Kraft comes back from this injury. That's going to be huge. When they lost Tucker Kraft, you could definitely see offensively they weren't right. And he was on his way to having a big year. That will be one key. And then obviously keeping Josh Jacobs healthy this year. Obviously, Josh Jacobs was playing on one leg basically the second half of the year. And I think if he's healthier, I think, fortunes could have changed in last year, but obviously losing 5 straight to go out, that was a big kick in the little guys,
It's almost like I feel your pain. Did you see the recap?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's.
I almost had to do a well-being check on you, by the way.
Oh, thanks, buddy. That was bad. That was real bad. But all right, so we touched a little bit on Tampa, touched a little bit on Green Bay. Let's talk about the team you hate, the Chicago Bears.
This is an interesting talk, because if it's not talking about how Ben Johnson has won over the league, it's talking about the stadium, but no one's really talking about the needs on this team, because of just how I think everybody's still reveling in the fact that this team did some amazing things last year, right? But their biggest needs right now is straight up defense. I think that defense needs an overhaul. They've got some guys, but
I think they need a good edge. I think that's their desperate need right now, especially in that division.
Yes. The
edge.
Sweat, when they traded for Sweat a couple years ago, I thought that was going to end up being a really good move, but he hasn't shown up at all. And I don't know if that's just because of the fact that he didn't really have somebody to complement him on the other side.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid number 2. I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. He's a number 2. He's not a 1A. He's not a 1B. He's a number 2. There's nothing wrong with being number 2. He'll get you between 8 to 10 sacks on a good season.
Right. But the thing is when I look at the Bears defense, they don't have, like I said, they don't have that presence of getting to the quarterback. And that's the one thing, especially in the North, you got to have good pass rush against these, offense. Every offense in this division now could put up 30 on you easy.
Yeah.
Unless you don't rush the quarterback, get pressure. That is probably the Bears' number 1 need in this draft is edge. I'm kind of interested to see, knowing that this draft does have a lot of good edge rushers coming out too. But do the Bears do the Bears key on one guy? And if the one guy they feel that they're totally locked into, will they make a trade up to get that guy?
Well, that's what I was leaning towards. You got Zion Young, who's dropping drastically because he got that DWI in December. You got Kendrell Falk. You got Akeem Misador. Misador is dropping because of his age. But all 3 of those guys are so close together. Mm-hmm. The Bears could have their pick. And who do you take at that point? Do you take the potential problem? Do you take the raw talent of Kendrell Falk that needs to be honed in? Or do you go out and you get someone like Akeem Misador, who's a little older in age, doesn't play the pass quite as well, but is a pure edge? I mean, that's
correct.
It's a deep draft for edge.
Yes, and the one thing is Dennis Allen's defensive style. Now, you watched that defense play against the Rams in that last game. I mean, the defense was actually doing rather well. And you can see how he likes to play. They like quick people. But he also likes a pass rush presence because of the fact that because of said fact, get to the quarterback, right? But his defensive schemes have always worked. He was never good. He was never a good head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, his defensive schemes have always been great. So,
yeah, Dennis Allen seems to lean on his players more than his playbook. If that makes any sense at all to you,
yeah,
you got Cameron Jordan in New Orleans, right? He's a big outside edge presence. He's a bigger guy. He's not your typical edge, but he can get to the quarterback and he does his job extremely well. And this is coming from a Bucs fan. I can't stand the man, but he does his job very well, right?
Right.
You give him someone like that, even maybe bring him to Chicago. He anchors your defense. That's what he needs. He needs an anchor on that defense.
There's been talk. Let me just say this. I know, obviously living in the Chicago area, I listen to the Chicago sports stations, obviously. There's talk. They've been, the talking heads are saying, why don't they go get him? Why don't they inquire about the guy on the Giants who wants to go?
Yeah.
I mean, one's older, one had an injury-riddled season, but both have big play capabilities, and it's been proven. Why don't they take a chance?
Well, Cam Jordan would make sense in my opinion because one, he knows the scheme. Two, he fits with what Dennis Allen does. He's played for Dennis Allen. He's a good locker room guy. Everyone in that locker room in New Orleans seems to love him. I mean, you never hear anyone bad-mouthing him unless they're from Carolina, Tampa Bay, or Atlanta. I mean,
But as somebody who roots for a team in the South, right, and going against New Orleans and knowing the team kind of like you do you really – is New Orleans rebuilding or are they just trying to keep dudes to stay relevant?
New Orleans is honestly, in my opinion, in full rebuild mode. They don't have an identity on offense. They don't have a quarterback. I mean, you have Tyler Shuck, who played extremely well at tail end of the season. But is he your quarterback? You don't know. And then you have Spencer Rattler, who's definitely not your quarterback right now. As soon as tape was out on him, he fell apart. Once, he had a good game here, a good game there, and then he was just awful. Tyler Shuck now is going to be the same way with him. You got film on him now. You see his tendencies. You can read what his, how he does with his progression and where he struggles at and finding open receivers. So they need that quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback since Drew Brees, and I know he's generational talent, blah, 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 but you need someone that can guide your growth, right? And New Orleans doesn't have that. Cam Jordan isn't that man. He's not on the defensive side of the ball. He's not the guy that's going to be the guy 2 years from now, 3 years from now. He's going to be out the door. They're going to be looking at, what the Bucs are looking at right now with trying to pull people in to rebuild on the fly, and they just don't have the pieces. They don't have an offensive identity right now, especially with Alvin Kamara not playing like he used to.
Yeah, and this is the point I was kind of going to is obviously everybody's looking at next year's draft as the big quarterback draft.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of good talent coming out next year. Why isn't a team like New Orleans getting rid of some players and setting themselves up for a, obviously it kind of looked like they were, tanking, but
New Orleans
getting rid of some of these guys.
Well, they're in a unique situation because their cap is dead.
Right.
They've kicked the can so far down the road that we've only hit, the wall, and we're just, instead of kicking it further, we're kicking it laterally. We have nowhere else to put it. So they're trying to move money around, trying to, the salary cap is pretty much arbitrary until you hit that wall.
Right.
You can always flex your signings, front load them, back load them. However you choose to grow your cap, it's not like, Madden where you can just slide that slider over and adjust things. You got to come in under those numbers. But there's ways to do it, and they've pushed it so far down the road. I think they might be out of options at this point. Just need to rebuild completely.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It's just like there's teams like that where I just feel like, I mean, we haven't talked even since, the tampering period and when free agency started and whatnot.
Right.
What was your take on just overall the movement, like with certain players going to certain places? Was there enough? Was there anything that surprised you? Was it or was there any teams that you thought may have been more active, either dumping or acquiring?
Well,
I mean,
when it first started, being a Bucs fan, my concentration was, of course, Mike Evans, whether he stays or whether he goes. But that was my main focus. But the big move that I thought went kind of under the radar was the fact that DJ Moore is no longer in Chicago. And I know that might not be a big deal to you because you follow the NFC North closely. But in my opinion, he helped get them to where they got. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was their big play receiver. Rome Odunze hasn't really grown like I thought he would. They have a great tight end combination, but I thought for sure they would, try to keep as much of that offense intact as they could. Because like you said, in the NFC North, that's 30 points a game.
That was the one that it shocked me a little bit just for that point. However, there was a lot of teams a lot of people that were saying DJ Moore is probably a casualty at this point. He's probably going to be one of the guys that gets let go in Chicago, and simply put, because they felt confident in the draft, in this year's draft, and they felt confident with who they have now that they could go cheaper, but still have talent. Now, to your point, DJ Moore is a great wide receiver. Yes. Were there issues the last couple of years with him in Chicago? Yes. It's been noted. However, that's a guy that I don't know do you view him as a number one receiver, or do you view him as a guy?
So
let's think about that for a second.
Let me put it to you like this. If he's in a young locker room, right, where he's the veteran, the head presence, the man you look to, I think you're good. I think he is your number one. He's talented. Great receiver. No question about it. But if he's in a locker room with someone, let's say Keenan Allen, someone that's one of your older heads in the league, someone that's going to command respect in that locker room, I think that's where you lose DJ Moore. I don't think he can be 1B. I don't think he can, and I don't think his ego allows him to be 2.
But that's what's interesting about the whole thing with how you said that there. So who out of the young guys was in Chicago? I mean, obviously now with that move, they've pushed all their chips in on saying Rome Odunze is their guy going forward. I mean, is that with DJ Moore going to Buffalo, and now Buffalo's got him, he's obviously turns into as number one over there. Which honestly the Bills desperately needed a guy. But in Chicago, like my feeling is Rome Odunze hasn't done anything in my eyes that shows he's the guy. And partially it's because he was hurt, but partially it just didn't seem like offensively he was he I know he dropped balls. I know there was miscommunications and stuff, and of course you can get that with a first year under a new head coach who's running the offense, obviously a complicated offense. But I don't know if you agree. Rome Odunze to me just did not do anything that showed me personally, and obviously following the North as much as I do, didn't impress me enough to saying that dude's going to be a stud. That's the guy.
But that's my point in Ben Johnson's offense, is that he doesn't have to be the stud. You're going to run the ball with Ben Johnson's offense. You're going to see a lot of 12 personnel. He's just got to be that guy that's going to draw the coverage. He's got to be the guy that's going to take half that, or depending how you look at it, a third of that field, and take that guy and drive him off the ball. Sure, you throw to him sometimes, but he's got to be able to run the entire tree. Rome Odunze checks that box, right? He's not Kevin White. He's not that type of receiver that's got one trick and that's it. He's not Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill at this point in his career is just a guy, but if you have the speed of Tyreek Hill, you put him on that side of the Ben Johnson defense and you run him down the field and keep that side of the field open, then you open it up for the running game and your tight end to come out in the flat. And that works.
Right.
So does Rome Odunze need to be a strong number one? No. What I think they're saying is he can be the best receiver in the room. We'll take DJ Moore and try to get some more capital off of him and use it in the draft.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. But let me ask you this then. Since we're going to play the comparison game of receivers and stuff.
You're
like
good.
That. Go to Detroit.
Okay.
Is Amara St. Brown a number one?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. So when he coached Detroit, you have St. Brown, you got Jameson Williams, you have, you had two different tight ends.
Correct.
And you obviously had a very strong running game with the two-headed monster. Compare so like Rome Odunze, we agree, is not at the level of Amara St. Brown.
But who is? Honestly, in the league right now, who is? He's your over-the-middle receiver. He can go down the field deep and get the ball. He's a jump ball receiver, and he fights for every yard he can get after catch. Who is that receiver in the league right now? You don't have very many of them.
No.
He's a unicorn.
Okay, what about comparing Jameson Williams to?
That's a better comparison, in my opinion. He'll take the top off the defense. He stretches your offense out. He allows for more open holes behind the line of scrimmage. You get past that initial attack, your running game's open. You got the pop and pass underneath the safety. You can hit the slant. You can hit the post. And once you start chipping away at the inside, you're going to get that corner and that safety cheating the inside. And you got your corner, you got your flag, you got your stop and go, you've got your hitch. All those are going to be open because you have that receiver that, one, I have to respect because he can run the shit out of the field. And two, it's going to open me up. It is right. What it is. That's who Rome Odunze is for Chicago. That, in my opinion.
So, okay. So after Rome Odunze, then besides their
you have nobody. Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody after. Yeah, 100%. You're right. So
that's what I'm saying.
You go get young talent. You just got to get young talent. And that's it.
And they've got plenty of picks this year.
100%.
Yes. So that's the one thing I think in Chicago, obviously, getting back to what the original question was, edge is probably what they're most looking at this point. But I definitely do see them trying to upgrade the receiver room a little bit because I think offensively, that's where their weakest point is. And also, you might want to start talking about running back as well because
again, deep draft wide receiver and running back. It is this is probably one of the most depth drafts in a long time. Not saying you're going to pull starters, not saying you're going to, but you have 4 or 5 edges that can go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 or 4 linebackers that can go in the first round. Maybe 5, depending on how you rate Jacob Rodriguez. Wide receiver. There's like 5 or 6 that can go first. And I think you can pull probably 12 of them into the second if you're looking at teams' needs.
Mm-hmm.
And then at safety's deep as well. Those are all positions of need right now for a lot of teams in the NFL. And it's a very deep draft. Are you going to draft a starter? Who knows? But I guarantee you get good depth pieces at each of those positions in this draft.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And the thing is with this draft, and I know we've always talked about this. Like, there's going to be, I don't know. I think there's a lot of teams just looking at certain players, and are teams going to play the patient game this year and just let them fall where they may, or is there going to be like a year where I want this guy. I will do whatever it takes to get this guy.
Yeah. You know what's crazy?
Well,
we haven't even talked about this, but I don't mean to cut you off. But this is crazy because it could happen with the Kirk Cousins signing in Las Vegas. Do the Raiders balk on Mendoza and decide they're going to take best available talent? Then that messes the whole draft up.
Right. Well, I don't know. To me, it seems like I don't know what I'm reading. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Mendoza is the number one pick.
Well, you would think.
And it sounds to me like it's going to be one of those. Kirk Cousins is going to be the mentor and probably start the year, and obviously let talent show later on. And Kirk's saying the right things too.
He always does.
He knows where he's at in his career. So, I think that's the way they go. I mean, could there be a scenario where something really weird happens and the Raiders say, "No, Kurt's our guy. We'll wait till next year to get our quarterback"? Because
that makes the most sense to me. I mean, honestly, look at next year's draft class.
Right, I know, and so do the Raiders go that route? And that's a question. I think obviously we'll find out right off the bat. Being the number one pick. There's different ways that they can go with that. There could be a team that will give up a ton to go to that number one pick and get who they want, and the Raiders can stock more draft picks. The Raiders are actually in a very good situation cap wise and future draft picks for I believe the next 3 years. I think Correct. They're pretty stacked.
And they're definitely who they are. They're in a rebuild mode. They know they're in a rebuild mode. But you got a linebacker like Sonny Styles that can change the game sitting there. I don't know how you're like, I'm just going to take Mendoza and let him ride the pine. I just don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I just, at this point, like I said, all I've read is that he's going to go number one. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion, and he'll sit, obviously for,
5 years,
however long.
That's the contract.
Yeah, for however long it takes. And I mean, even Mendoza's saying the right things. Like he wants to sit. He doesn't want to just go in and play. He feels like he could learn a lot by sitting, kind of like how Brady sat and Rodgers sat, and the quarterbacks that did sit for a couple years, they've done well. Where there's only so many that can go out there right off the bat as a rookie and do great things. And with the Raiders situation, if they're not in any way, shape, or form ready to make a playoff push this season, why throw the kid in? Just
I get it, but my thing is if I'm sitting there and I'm the general manager of the Raiders, and Mendoza is supposed to be the first pick. He's supposed to be the guy because he's the quarterback that won the national championship, won the Heisman, checks all the boxes, except he doesn't have great arm strength. He's not very mobile. I mean, he's mobile enough. He doesn't fit what I want as a quarterback, and I have generational talent behind him. I don't see why I would waste my time putting that much money into a quarterback that I've got to sit with for 5 years. And in that fourth year, I got to make the decision if I'm going to keep him for the rest. That fifth-year option isn't guaranteed. The team has to make a decision on that. So now you got Kirk Cousins for 5 years. I think that's why they did that, because then they can watch his growth and development going into that fifth year, and they can make a decision. But I think it's a waste of time. You've seen quarterbacks that have fallen on their face in the NFL repeatedly. Johnny Manziel, Tim Couch. Name any Cleveland Brown quarterback you want to that has fallen on their face. I mean, it happens all the time. There's always misses in the NFL, and I'm not sure Mendoza isn't. In your opinion, like I didn't watch a lot. I mean, I did watch. This year was probably a year that I watched more college football than usual, just because of the IU success thing. Just because it was just locally here, it was just big. Yeah. But in your opinion, where would you rate Mendoza as a quarterback coming out of college? Like, give me a. Okay, let's go this route instead. If he were in next year's draft, if he stayed for next year, I think he's a second round, maybe third round selection.
Really? Okay.
I mean, he checks the boxes, yes. But you watch his tape, he's gritty. I'll give him that. He's willing to put his body on the line. His teammates love him. He's definitely a leader, right? He says all the right things, does all the right things. But his arm strength is lacking. His velocity on the ball isn't great. He can throw all the routes, but you can look at it and see. Maybe it's just me. I just don't think he has the velocity needed to hit those small windows in the NFL. I just don't.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. It's a very fair assumption or opinion. It's, we've all looked at quarterbacks that have come out of college. They've come out of a winning program. And they're like, man, they look great. And then they get into the NFL and, like you said, like take any Cleveland Browns quarterback that they've picked. And I mean, they've fallen flat. Could that be personnel issues? Could that be coaching? Who knows? But fact of the matter is there's a lot of documented times to where a quarterbacks look so damn good in college and then they go to the NFL and they fall flat on their face.
Yeah. And you got to realize going from Bloomington, Indiana to Las Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Is a completely different animal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, IU is a party school. I'll give you that. But it's not Las Vegas. You know what I mean?
So, no.
I mean, he seems kind of sheltered to me. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that went out partying a lot in college. He went out partying a lot in high school. He didn't seem to live that lifestyle. He seems very anchored in family. You take him away from all that. I mean, his brother was in college with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't know. I just worry that it's not right. It's not
gonna so let's play GM again. All right, for the Raiders. Do you with from what you've said, from what you've seen, do you take that number one pick somebody else of need this year? Or if somebody comes flying in with an offer for those two for that number one pick to get more picks this year and next.
If I can leave this draft with another number one next year in a draft that they say it's the quarterback draft, and I know I'm down a quarterback, I trade back depending on the, how far I'm sliding down in the first this year. Like I said, this is a deep draft for quite a few positions. I mean,
right.
Could the Raiders use an edge? They got Max Crosby. But do they have Max Crosby? That's a whole different animal.
That thing got weird.
Yeah. So, do they have a linebacker worth note?
No.
Devin White was there. Is he? I mean, you get Sonny Styles. That's a game-changing linebacker. So you got to weigh your options to see who's on the table. If I'm moving down, let's say moving down to around Tampa, around 14, 15 area, I'm taking that trade. I'm taking that trade if I get a next year draft pick, because that's going to put me in the middle of the pack. And depending on how well I play, the furthest I'm selecting is top 15. You know what I mean? So
right.
I get that second pick. I'm taking more, going forward into the future. Who's to say they're not going to throw a second in for that pick as well? So now you got a first and second this year in a very deep draft in every position except for quarterback.
Right. And this is why I say crazy could start happening scenario. If a trade does happen, we could be seeing a situation to where, teams that are looking for quarterback may pass on him anyways. See, and that's what I've been reading too.
No, we had said that, Johnny, and we totally agree with you. I guess I'm playing devil's advocate here because I don't see the talent in Mendoza. I really don't. And the Raiders aren't one quarterback away from making a splash in this league right now.
No.
So
No, and that's what I'm and that's another, to your point, to that point, if a trade happens or the Raiders go a different route, how far does Mendoza fall?
yeah,
This could be like the situation to where Aaron Rodgers, when he came out, and basically he thought he was getting in the top 10, and he fell all the way to the Green Bay Packers in the 20s. So,
well, speaking of 20s, let's talk about Dallas.
We now take you live to AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, to wrap up the 2025 season with Jerry Jones's after the season press conference.
Jerry, when you look back at the 2025 season, what crosses your mind on the future of this franchise?
For me, it's a reminder. I, too, have been here 23 years. And it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Jerry, how's your feeling going into 2026?
Smiles and glory hole.
Jerry, what's the one single thing you want from the draft this offseason?
I want me some glory hole.
Anything else you want, Jerry?
I want me some glory hole.
So seriously, Dallas at 20. They have needs. I mean, glory holes is one of them, I guess. But corner, again, another deep position at this draft.
mm-hmm.
Dude from LSU is who I see everyone going to Dallas in Mansour Delaney, however you say his name. Best cornerback in the draft. But can Dallas make a big move? I mean, it's not out of character for Jerry Jones to try to throw his name in the limelight and make a splash move. Could we see him trading up?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm with him. But anyways, no, actually, Dallas has got the 2 first-round picks this year, if I'm not mistaken.
100%. That's what I'm getting at.
This is an interesting team to watch, and I mean that because obviously, offensively, I think they're okay because you've got your receivers, you've got Dak Prescott, and anybody who talks trash about Dak Prescott, that dude's a good quarterback. I'm sorry,
I'm marking this tape here, bro. I mean, we're gonna
go for it
during the season.
Well,
is going to have
I think we do that to poke fun at Stout because VHS tapes were popular back when the Cowboys were.
Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, but can't seem to get out of his own way at times.
True. But obviously everybody wanted to see how the team looked with the new head coach last year. And oh, my camera's gone. Okay. So here I am talking.
Dude, don't use sign language. We can't see you.
Yeah. So anyways, so let's go like this. I think offensively, Dallas is okay. Maybe at running back is what they really need someone. But I think you are definitely right with how deep it is with corner and knowing that's a position of need with on the defense, and that's where they really need to get better at is on the defensive side of the ball. I think obviously corner is a glaring hole for this team. With those 2 first-round picks, do they just stay patient with how deep? Or, again, this could be the team to watch that makes a trade-up. And they've got 2 picks to work with. So
that's kind of what I'm getting at is if you're – I know the other pick in Mendoza. I hear you. But if you're the Raiders and the Cowboys come with the number 1 first-round pick and a second-round pick, and then a number 1 next year, how do you say no?
Exactly.
How do you turn that down? This draft is so deep at the positions that the Raiders need. I don't know how you say no. The Raiders have a tight end. Check that off. Raiders, I mean, technically they have a quarterback now, right? So do you check that off? No, because they're going to seriously think out Mendoza. But where else can you put a solid check mark for the Raiders other than tight end, edge? I mean, what do you got? There's so many needs there.
Correct. Correct.
I don't know how you say no. If someone comes up with a trade like that, I don't know how you're the general manager of a team can look at your fan base and say, Mendoza was the pick. We had to pick Mendoza. Mendoza was the pick. I don't see how
Hey,
you
I'm back.
do but
No, I agree. I totally agree. I don't know. I look at Dallas and like I said, with obviously Philadelphia is still going to be that team to beat, I think, in that division. But the Cowboys, if they play their cards right in this draft and do get the right personnel for this team, I think they could be challenging that Philadelphia team for the division and obviously be a playoff team. But again, Jerry Jones historically has done some weird things, and it just seems like year after year he can't get it right. But now he's set up. He is actually, for once, he is set up to have something good happen. Let's see how he takes care of things, right?
yeah, I mean, and Johnny's going off on Givens right now, or the Giants right now. Giants are our team to watch. I mean, you got some good young talent there. If Scattaboo comes back and he's healthy, you got Jackson Dart, who's a good quarterback to build on. Is he the quarterback of their future? Have they finally got their number one? I'm not sure. He looked good. You know what I mean? He good during the season. He's definitely got some warts about him, but second year in the league now, going into it, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, the Giants are an interesting team, especially with Harbaugh now coming in as head coach. I kind of want to see how that team performs under Harbaugh this first year. I don't think they'll be great, but I think you're going to see a much more improved team just because the culture change and stuff like that. But yes, I think I would like to see how quarterback see how the quarterback and the running back come back this year off of injury and whatnot to see if that offense is going to flow. So,
and to Johnny Dean's point is the Giants already have arguably the best D-line in the league. And when you think about John Harbaugh football, what do you think? I mean, first thing that comes to mind for me is defense. And that might be because he was with the Ravens and the Ravens had that culture already instilled when he got there and they had the talent to build that defense. But when I think of John Harbaugh, I think defense. I think low scoring games. Giants are set.
That it is definitely a point where the Giants have the best D-line in the league. Now let's just see how things play out. I'd like to see year two from their quarterback. I want to see if the offensively they can push the ball down the field. You know, that's I feel like last with Dayball as coach, it didn't look right. I mean, they tried Russell Wilson, they tried all these other options. It didn't work, you know, and obviously with the young quarterback having to go in because Russell Wilson was horrible. Yeah. Obviously he got thrown on the fire. But I would like to see offensively how they look, you know, and maybe this team completely surprises people. And maybe maybe the East becomes better just because of the fact that Philadelphia, I think Philadelphia still is a good team, but I don't know if they've done enough to.
Yeah, you got a disgruntled receiver there trying to get his way out too. So,
well, and that's why I'm thinking that whole Wicks trade from the Packers. I think that whole thing to get him is to. I think they're getting ready to unload AJ Brown.
Yeah, I think he ends up in Chicago, but that's just me. Maybe not just me, but
like I said to you earlier, if he wants to cause problems for a locker room, that would be the one place I would love to see it at.
Right on. Well, Brian, we're coming to the end here, brother. It's been an hour.
Yes, I know. I can't believe we've we've kept talking. It's been great.
It's weird for you and I to carry on a conversation this long.
Usually we don't get this much time to speak because Andy's blabbering all the time.
Luckily today he has bronchitis, so we
get better, buddy.
We get to breathe a little easier. But you have any closing thoughts for us? I mean, anything you want to get out there before we get off the air?
It's obviously I got to get back in my NFL bunker, but we're 2 weeks out from the draft. A lot can still happen. It'll be interesting to see if certain trades do materialize right before the draft, like the AJ Brown type of thing.
Yeah.
Would the Bears entertain that thought? But I just think in the next couple of weeks, we're really going to see, 2 weeks from now, we're really going to see how these teams are built, and it'll be, and then just go from there. I mean, I think a lot of moves can be made. A lot of teams can get a lot better in 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. I wanted to ask you, I know we've been blabbering.
You're good.
I wanted to know what your team's going to do.
Okay. Well, I think they got to address one of three positions in the first 2 days: edge, linebacker, cornerback. And I think if you're faced with, let's say, first round, you got Colton Hood, Zion Young, and C.J. Allen on the board. C.J. Allen's the number 2 linebacker in the league or in the draft right now. Zion Young has questions with his DWI concerns, and Colton Hood is just barely 6 foot. Todd Bowles loves his tall corners. He loves corners that can play open hip and run. Colton Hood fits that, but he's on that brink of being a tall corner. I think you go C.J. Allen. I think C.J. Allen's the pick there. I also think the Bucs have the opportunity to double dip at linebacker and get Jacob Rodriguez in the second, probably around 45 to 47 area. But yeah, I think they need to go one of the three positions first round, one of the three positions second round. They're going to double dip at linebacker and probably corner. I don't see them double dipping at the edge because edges don't usually play special teams. And to make an impact in the NFL, you got to be early and ready to play. And I think special teams is where they make their mark.
Right on. And I got one more question for you.
Okay.
With Stefanski getting hired in Atlanta, does that Atlanta team make you nervous now?
Atlanta did make me nervous. I'm not going to lie. They have 2 really good sound building pieces on offense with God, I can't think of the right receiver's name right now. And then you got Bijan Robinson. Defensively, I think they're a liability still. I think they still have a couple pieces to go, but it's anybody's NFC South this year except for the Saints, in my opinion. I think the Bucs are still on path to win it, but Carolina's going to give them a run in Atlanta. If they get their offense clicking right and get a defense that can actually play a little bit above average, they're going to be someone to contend with. But
what is your take on, okay, right now, before pre-draft, who's got the strongest division in terms of teams?
Ooh, right now, in the NFC, it's the North, in my opinion. The NFC East is on its up again. They're right there, but yeah, I think it's the North. The NFC West is pretty much, Seattle or San Francisco. So yeah, I think it's the North. But
I agree with that. I would say this is one. I'll give you the one thing, and then that makes me nervous from the offseason in our league. Will Kyler Murray turn out to be something in Minnesota?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No,
with their quarterback whisperer of a coach.
Kyler Murray's problem is he's got to be a rollout quarterback. I don't think he's tall enough. Baker Mayfield has the same problem. Baker's fine in a clean pocket. He can see and read. But when Baker Mayfield is behind the line of scrimmage that stood up, he has problems seeing the ball. And he has problem with the trajectory of the ball. That's why he's got a lot of bad balls. Same thing with Kyler Murray, except Kyler Murray relies on his mobility, in my opinion. And it's just not there anymore. Johnny Dean says NFC West, NFC North, NFC East, NFC South. I respectively disagree about the NFC West just because I think it's a 2-team race. NFC North, I think, is a 3-team race. NFC East, again, is going to be a 3-team race, but all 3 of those teams are a little subpar. And the NFC South is, yeah, you got them right. They're a pile. But
All right,
man.
Well, we did it.
We are at an hour, so we're going to end this broadcast. I personally want to thank our wives and families for allowing us to come on here, be complete and total idiots 1 hour out of the week. I'm an idiot most days, and she'll attest to that, but it is what it is. We probably won't have a show again until after the draft unless something comes up, unless you guys are willing to do so. Let's just keep in touch, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Sounds good to me.
See you all next time.